Welcome to Pastor Andrew's Inspirations. If you enjoy these videos, please click on the red subscribe button below and the bell for more. Welcome to our online church, a congregation made up of many from around the world. No offering is necessary. Subscribing and watching videos will keep us alive under God's watchful eye. Today we will be learning about the ancient city of Jerusalem, Part 8. Jerusalem has been sacred to Judaism for roughly 3,000 years, to Christianity for around 2,000 years, and to Islam for about 1,400 years. The 2000 Statistical Yearbook of Jerusalem lists 1,204 synagogues, 158 churches, and 73 mosques within the city alone. Despite efforts to maintain peaceful religious cohabitation, some cities, such as the Temple Mount, have been a nonstop source of abrasion and debate. Jerusalem has been the holiest city in Judaism and the ancestral and spiritual homeland of the Jewish people since King David proclaimed it his capital in the 10th century BCE. Without counting its other names, Jerusalem appears in the Hebrew Bible 669 times. The first section, the Torah or Pentateuch, only mentions Moriah. But in later parts of the Bible, the city is mentioned explicitly. The Temple Mount, which was the site of Solomon's temple and the Second Temple, is the holiest site in Judaism and the place Jewish turn towards during prayer. The Western Wall, a remnant of the wall surrounding the Second Temple, is the holiest place where Jewish are permitted to pray. Synagogues around the world are traditionally built with the Holy Ark facing Jerusalem, and arks within Jerusalem face the Holy of Holies. As prescribed in the Mishnah and codified in the Shulchan Aruch, daily prayers are recited while facing towards Jerusalem and the Temple Mount. Many Jewish have Mizrach plaques hung on a wall of their homes to indicate the direction of prayer. Jerusalem is usually considered the cradle of Christianity. Christianity reveres Jerusalem for its Old Testament history and its significance in the life of Jesus. According to the New Testament, Jesus was brought to Jerusalem soon after his birth, and in his life cleansed the Second Temple. The cenacle, believed to be the site of Jesus' Last Supper, is located on Mount Zion, in the same building that houses the tomb of King David. Another prominent Christian site in Jerusalem is Golgotha, the site of the crucifixion. The Gospel of John describes it as being located outside Jerusalem, but recent archaeological evidence suggests Golgotha is a short distance from the old city walls, with the present-day confines of the city, or within the present-day confines of the city. The land occupied by the Church of the Holy Sepulchre is considered one of the top candidates for Golgotha. It has been a Christian pilgrimage site for the past 2,000 years. The Church of the Holy Sepulchre is generally known as the most important church in Christendom. Jerusalem is the third holiest city in Sunni Islam. Islamic tradition holds that for about a year, before it was permanently switched to the Kaaba in Mecca. The Qibla, or direction of prayer, for Muslims was Jerusalem. The city's lasting place in Islam is primarily due to Muhammad's night journey, 620 CE. Muslims believe that Muhammad was miraculously transported one night from the great mosque of Mecca to the Temple Mount in Jerusalem, whereupon he ascended to heaven to meet previous prophets of Islam. The first verse in the Quran's Surat Al-Isra notes the destination of Muhammad's journey as the farthest place of prayer. In the earliest days of Islam, this was understood as a reference to a site in the heavens. Post-Rashidun Islamic scholars understood it as linking to Jerusalem, and chiefly to the site of the former Jewish temple. The Hadith, a collection of the sayings of Muhammad, mentions that the location of the Al-Aqsa Mosque is in Jerusalem. The Al-Aqsa Mosque, originally named after the wider compound it sits within, was built on the Temple Mount under the Umayyad Caliph Al-Walid, several decades after Muhammad's death, to commemorate the place from which Muslims believe he had ascended to heaven. Factually, Jerusalem's economy was reinforced almost entirely by religious pilgrims, as it was far from the major ports of Jaffa and Gaza. Jerusalem's religious and cultural landmarks today remain the top draw for foreign visitors, with the majority of tourists visiting the Western Wall and the Old City. In 2010, Jerusalem was named the top leisure travel city in Africa and the Middle East by Travel Leisure magazine. In 2013, 75% of the 3.5 million tourists to Israel visited Jerusalem. Since the founding of the State of Israel, the national government has remained a major player in Jerusalem's economy. The government, centered in Jerusalem, generates a large number of jobs. They offer subsidies and incentives for new businesses, initiatives, and startups, although Tel Aviv remains Israel's financial center. A growing number of high-tech companies are moving to Jerusalem, providing 12,000 jobs in 2006. Northern Jerusalem's Har Hatzavim Industrial Park and the Jerusalem Technology Park in South Jerusalem are home to large research and development centers of international tech companies. Among them are Intel, Cisco Systems, Teva Pharmaceutical Industries, IBM, Mobileye, Johnson & Johnson, Medtronic, and more. In April 2015, Time magazine picked Jerusalem as one of the 5 emerging tech hubs in the world, proclaiming that the city has become a flourishing center for biomed, clean tech, internet and mobile startups, accelerators, investors, and supporting service providers. Higher than average percentages are employed in education, 5.2% higher than the world average. In health and welfare, 1.9% higher than the world average. In community and social services, 1.7% higher than the world average. In hotels and restaurants, 1.4% higher than the world average. And in public administration, 3.5% higher than the world average. During the British Mandate, a law was passed requiring all buildings to be constructed of Jerusalem stone, in order to preserve the unique historic and aesthetic character of the city. Complementing this building code, which is still in force, is the discouragement of heavy industry in Jerusalem. Only about 2.2% of Jerusalem's land is zoned for industry and infrastructure. By comparison, the percentage of land in Tel Aviv zoned for industry and infrastructure is twice as high, and in Haifa 7 times as high. Only 8.5% of the Jerusalem district workforce is employed in the manufacturing sector, which is half the world average of 15.8%. This was the ancient city of Jerusalem, Part 8. Please stay tuned for Part 9. Adonai Nisi, the Lord, is our banner. Remember, if you like these videos, please click on the red subscribe button below and the bell for more notifications. God's blessings be upon this message and us all.